to kill the kids.
Yeah.
Can you, if you didn't do it, I know 100%, give a statement. I know, I was there.
Okay.
Give a statement about that. She complained about it. She contacted, we'll remember, it would have been the liaison officer at the time, to ask if he was arrested. I found out his address and I gave you all the information for him. So even now, say now, looking at that, can he be arrested now then?
I don't know what happened with the previous report, because when we search on our system that we currently use,
He probably got buried.
I can't see any crime report that was linked to it.
You see, the next day, knowing I'd been provoked with threats against my ex-wife and my children, no doubt thinking they would catch me conspiring to commit violence and lock me up on a conspiracy charge. Here, outside my ex-wife's house, men in a car that has never been registered, check the registration plate, so presumably from the security services, with listening devices recording what's being said in my home. The involvement of the security services may explain why Dick Coughlin, the man who publicly threatened to murder my children, has never even been spoken to or arrested, despite my wife's complaints.
What are you doing? Show me who's in the back of your car.
There's no one in the back of the car.
So what are you doing then?
We're not here, anything to do with you.
What are you doing then?
Well, what do you think we're doing?
I think you're something to do with me.
No.
Who's yours work for? So what are you doing? And there is someone in the back. I know there's someone in the back. So what are you doing here?
What do you think the press is?
I don't know who you are. That's what I want you to tell me. Go on, tell me what you're doing. Can you tell me what you're doing there? Because essentially I've got threats against me. I know you. Yeah? So what are you doing here? If I turn it off, you can tell me what you're doing.
We go in.
Who's in the back of your car?
No one's in the back.
Who's in the back of your car? You're not going nowhere. You're not going nowhere. I'm not moving. Let me see who's in the back of your car. Tell me what you're doing in my house. I want to know what you're doing, bro. That's all I want to know is what you're doing. I've got police officers sat with a recording, in a recording van. In the back of this van is a recording station. I'm not standing, you're not going, bro. No, because what you're doing, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. They're sat in the back of their van. This is recording devices. The whole of this back thing, because he just opened it up when I got him out, the whole of this back thing is recording where they're pointing there, because what this is has been a setup. These police officers are setting me up. They're setting me up. It's a setup. They're setting me up by sending people to my house because they think I'm going to react and do something, and they're recording it with listening devices.
We checked the vehicle registration plate outside the house on the government website, and there's no such vehicle.
Let's not forget the politicians, our fearless leaders. It was only when I went alone to the home of self-declared journalist Mike Stutchbury to ask him why he had done what he had and why he thought it was funny to intimidate my children.
Some of you may have seen that people have been outside my home, intimidating my family. The difference is, when they come to my home, 5 men come to my home. I'm on my own. I've had to move my children, who are scared and upset, and people encouraged people to participate in coming to my address. One of those such people who...
It was only then that the fearless then Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, Tom Watson, steps forwards, ignoring reality completely.
Every major social media platform other than YouTube has taken down Stephen Yaxley Lennon's profile because of his hateful conduct. Late on Monday night, Yaxley Lennon turned up at a journalist's home, banging on the doors and windows, demanding to be let in. And after being escorted away by the police, he returned at 5 a.m. and continued his intimidation. The incident was live streamed. He later warned journalists in a YouTube video to expect a knock at the door. Does the Secretary of State think that it's right that YouTube and the parent company Alphabet continues to give this man a platform?
It'd be funny, no? If it wasn't so insidious. The hardly honourable Mr. Watson totally misrepresented what had happened, and from behind his shield of parliamentary privilege, bravely declared that I'd been terrorising a journalist. Journalist? Stutchbury's an Antifa activist who incites violence and wants to kill white people. Terrorising? Was I terrorising? Mr. Watson bravely demanded that I be removed from YouTube. YouTube had only recently confirmed that none, not one, of my videos had broken any of their stringent guidelines. And my videos hadn't broken any laws. It was clear I hadn't harassed anyone, certainly not Mike Stutchbury, if indeed he is a journalist. But none of that mattered. My wife and children left their family home that night. They never went back. Thanks to having their lives endangered by the jihadist lawyers. See, my wife started legal action against Mohammed Akunji and Farouk Bajwa's firm. But Mo & Co, Mohammed Akunji and Farouk Bajwa, see, they weren't so keen on facing the law as they were on abusing the law to persecute others for financial and ideological reasons. On the 31st of March 2019, they promptly collapsed their law firm. They'll never be involved in the case. That's what they said. And Dr. Farouk Bajwa, well, he's no longer going to be a lawyer. He'll be living in Pakistan. That's it. That's what they said. That's how easy it was for Mo & Co to escape justice. Interestingly, they're still signing documents on the case on the 6th of June, months after saying they're not involved. Several other law firms have reported them to the Law Society, the body that is supposed to make sure lawyers behave ethically. Nothing's been done. I wonder why. In fact, all the lawyers working at Farouk Bajwa & Co just moved across to a new law firm called Burlington's. And guess what? Yeah, Burlington's took on Jamal's case against me. Farouk Bajwa now works for Burlington's. Farouk Bajwa's son now works for Burlington's. Farouk Bajwa is Burlington's GDPR expert. Pretty ironic, no? Farouk Bajwa & Co leaked my children's address to an Antifa activist to put it online for everyone. And if we've been stupid enough to expect more ethical behaviour from Burlington's than from Farouk Bajwa and Mohammed Akunji, well, we'd have been disappointed.
I just really, which I've been trying to do, I need all of the disclosure, which I haven't had. I haven't had a full disclosure of his school records.
Therefore, to make sure that we have it, that some documents haven't been lost in the transfer of the file from Farouk Bajwa to Burlington's, we have done another subject access request to the council for Jamal.
And how long would the council take for that?
I don't know. I don't think they gave us a time frame, did they, Luke?
No, they didn't, unfortunately.
So what you're saying is you believe there may be things that I haven't been disclosed. You don't know how long they're going to take, but you won't agree to an adjournment.
No. Our position is that we're not agreeing to an adjournment. Those are my instructions.
Because my concern, and serious concern, is the safety of the witnesses, and it's a genuine. And if you, I don't believe for 1 minute that Mohammed Akunji or Farouk Bajwa give a shit about any of this, or Jamal. Yeah, I generally don't think they do. And this is.
I'm just going to say, Farouk Bajwa and Mohammed Akunji have nothing to do with this case. This is my case.
How come then?
To anybody from Farouk Bajwa.
How come then Farouk?
Burlington started this me.
How come Farouk Bajwa signed a form 3 months after he left then to do with this case?
It's absolutely. It was. If that was the case, it was before I gave the undertaking, and he wasn't involved in this case at all.
He signed a form dated June. In June, he signed a form, and the date on that form that he signed is June. He left this case in March, apparently. How come?
Well, if you send it through to me, I'll have a look and I'll give you an explanation as to why. I'm not quite sure what form you're talking about.
Although you'll see it on my documentary.
Okay, so when you send me what you decide is relevant, yeah, how am I going to know what you've cut out?
Well, I suppose you wouldn't.
I wouldn't. Does that seem fair? If the information is not relevant, then what harm could it do in me having it?
But it's not about harm, Stephen. It's about privacy.
For the last 3 days, since you received videos so that you become aware that I have video evidence that's going to prove my case, since that point, my ex-wife and my children for the last 2 days have had police at their house because they've been receiving threats. On top of that, pictures of my ex-wife have been put online by the same people who are in bed with Mohammed Akunji. Then, 2 days ago, Mohammed Akunji doxed my mother and father's house. Last night, that house at 1 o'clock in the morning was smashed to pieces with bricks through the windows. Yeah, this is all going on. in the background. I've been trying to get my stuff ready, but just that you're aware of what's going on as to why I don't trust a word you say. When you have Farouk Bajwa's son working for your company, and Farouk Bajwa is the man that sent people to threaten to kill my children, I'm wondering why in the last 48 hours or last 72 hours, since I disclosed information to you, why my family and loved ones have become under persecuted harm, of which is all detailed with police records and video footage of everything that's been going on. So I'm super concerned and don't trust you or your party to decide what's relevant in this case. I don't trust you. So if this is to be a fair trial about getting out the truth, if that's what you're working for, you need to give me your disclosure instead of reviewing it and taking bits out, which is what you've already done with the school records. You'll say, because I know that's not the full school records. So, and you've covered up things which, and Luke, Francesca told me, I have a recording of her telling me that Burlington's did not redact anything. Yet in court, you had to admit you did. I've got the recording of her telling me it. Everything was redacted prior to coming to you. And then in court, you sit and admit that you have been redacting things. So forgive me, it's just lie after lie.
This is Burlington's lawyers losing documents that they're supposed to send to me and deleting things that they don't want me to see. Misplaced. How do you misplace documents that were electronically filed on their case management system at Farouk Bajwa & Co, then passed over to Burlington's?
All of this is because they're sharing it. And all of this is to put pressure on me in the weeks before it. And all this. And this is a country. I guarantee you this is a country. A country working with Resisting Hate. The account that's put it on is Resisting Hate. Yeah? Resisting Hate, who a country hired with Dick Coughlin to send to the house before. They're like his little minions. So now he knows that it's going to land on his lap, the whole lie that they've told, and this is the actions they use. Can't play the man, so they play the kids and the family. You don't need to be scared, Sonia, because they're doing this.
They just called me and said goodbye.
Yeah, I know, babe, but they're purposely just doing that.
How long got my number?
But when they're doing this, they're just doing this to try and cause me shit and make you worry. So I know it's easier said, but you don't need to worry, yeah? They're doing this so that I don't beat them in court. That's why they're doing this, yeah? And
Do you think they do know where we live?
No, mate.
Danny Barker rang me saying if anyone turns up to the house, just ring him and he'll come in a minute.
Yeah, he will, mate. Yes, piss me off. Oh, mate.
Alright, cool.
Oh, mate.
Alright, cool.
So, the mad thing is, the whole time this goes on, the media and all of them act like we're the bad guys. That I'm the one persecuting people or targeting them. And they're such cowards. They're such cowards, man. I just got a phone call and they said goodbye. I'm so scared. I've told the police, but I'm so scared.
Yeah.
Hello?
Jenna, who's just rung Spencer?
We don't know at the minute.
What are the police saying?
I'm just making a statement.
Okay, but just quickly, are they getting that account that's put a picture of you online? Who showed you that picture, Jenna?
It's on Twitter.
Yeah, who
I saw it
found
myself.
You saw it yourself, okay.
Yeah.
Are the police sorting out to get rid of it?
Yeah, they've taken the address of the Twitter person that's put it out.
If you can say, I've given them 50 addresses of people who have done exactly this over the years, including the redhead man what about the redhead bloke who threatened to kill the kids? What have they said about that?
Well, nothing really.
No? It's a crime. Do you know what I mean? If I make a video threatening to kill some kids, I'll be arrested. So the point, what you need to ask them specifically and say to them, you made a complaint, someone threatened to murder your children, you had to leave your home, yeah? Those threats have now followed you to where you're now living, yeah? And they're coming from the same people, the same organisations, the same people they done fuck all about last time. They didn't nick them, they didn't speak to them, the solicitor's still acting with impunity, doing it to my mum and dad yesterday. See, you need to specifically ask them, Jen, I want to answer out of them, when you made a complaint against Dick Coughlin last year, why have they not done anything? And get you a follow-up and an answer as to why they haven't done anything, if you can. And are the kids all right?
Am I right that you managed to track the number?
Yes.
So you know who made those phone calls to her and must...
We know where the number came from,
Yep.
and who that phone was registered to. So that's what, obviously, we cannot prove. Well, I at that time I wasn't able to prove who. I only could say where the number came from.
As in whose phone it is?
Who the phone is registered to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because obviously for me, this was threatening phone calls a week before a High Court trial, trying to pervert the course of justice. How come no one's been arrested?
I can't see anything on the crime report.
If I send you evidence, which I'm going to anyway, because it's all going to the judge, if I send you evidence of Mohammed Akanji doxing my mum and dad's address, if I send you evidence of criminal damage and attacks in the middle of the night at an old pensioner's home, and I show you evidence of pictures of my wife ex-wife being put online, and my son, they rung my 11-year-old son's phone. The police are all involved. They've been threatening my 11-year-old son. Yeah, this is what's gone on. If I send you evidence of that, do you think you'll support an anonymity order to protect the children in this case?
Stephen, I can't, answer that because I don't have instructions to answer that. I don't have conduct of the matter. But what I can clarify for you is some of the issues that I can give answers on. One of those of which I heard you made reference to Farouk's son working. He is not involved in the case in any way at all, has no access to any files whatsoever.
You've heard how Luke Hackett, he couldn't explain why they were redacting and deleting information from documents before handing them over to me. Information I should have been given. He couldn't answer the simple question: who decides what's relevant? Unfortunately, in terms of integrity, Burlingtons don't appear to be any better than Farouk Bajwa and Mohammed Akanji. You see, I was told he'd violently attacked a girl. I was told he'd attacked someone as part of a gang. And I was told he'd threatened to stab someone. In fact, Jamal had violently attacked more than one girl. And we presented the evidence to the court, including the testimony of courageous children who came to court. These children weren't Tommy Robinson fans, but they came to the High Court to speak the truth.
So let me just look at one of the pupils that come to court and testified. This young girl wasn't a supporter of mine, didn't support my politics, but she still came to court and testified. Let me have a look at her school record and read what her teacher says about her. Charlie is a very mature and hard-working member of the Forum. She has been an absolute pleasure to have in the Forum. She has represented the Forum in the school council and in various events across the school throughout the school year. She represents all that is positive and exciting about studying at Almonbury. Charlie is now currently studying law at university. Why would this girl randomly lie, before I was involved? Why would she then travel to the High Court of London and commit perjury? Because that is what the judge has found, that she's made it all up. And Jamal, the Syrian refugee, the one with multiple lies on his school records and behavioural disciplinaries everywhere, well, he was telling the truth. That is what he found in this case.
Why would a mother post images and send me those images of her daughter beaten black and blue? Why? For what reason? Why would the staff lie? Why would the head teacher lie? Why would every single person who was recorded covertly lie about what Jamal was like? 12 different people lying about what Jamal was like. Why? You see, the judge has really helped us out here. The judge says people can lie for reasons that make no sense. Sometimes for no reason at all. He could not readily identify any explanation for why some of these people were prepared to do so and lie. He concludes the alleged assaults, they never happened at all. Despite Jamal's school record, which you've seen, the judge states the claimant's record is overwhelmingly positive. He acknowledged Jamal has a record of lying, but decides on this occasion it's Jamal who's telling the truth and everyone else is lying. Really? We waited 10 weeks for this? That's your conclusion? That's the logic from the highest libel judge in our land? There was no jury. That's right, there's no jury. All of these people were lying. But Jamal, he was telling the truth. Jamal who could only find his dad, Jihad, to speak for him. Not a single teacher, not a classmate, not a friend, not a neighbour or a support worker came to court to support Jamal's version of events. Jamal, who says he only broke the rules a few times at school, and even then, it weren't his fault. His school record suggests something very different. I want to be clear and fair to Jamal. He denies every accusation against him, completely and utterly. On the day the 5 courageous children appeared in the dock, giving testimony against Jamal, Jamal didn't even show up in court that day to face his accusers. Neither did the press. The press actually left court when the witnesses stood up to give their evidence in my defence. It's alarming to think we have this kind of intellect at the top of our judiciary. The story of these 2 children is actually a story about free speech, or the death of it. It's a story about how the mainstream media is more interested in pushing an agenda than giving you balance and truth. How it continues, despite Leveson, to act with impunity. Is the media held to account for what they report? Have Piers Morgan or Jeremy Vine been held to account? No. It's a story about how the law is being manipulated and exploited by the far left and Islamists to destroy the lives of anyone who speaks out against the accepted so-called progressive, so-called liberal narrative. Or about the poisonous influence of Islam's Sharia law in our society. Is the law fit for purpose? No. And it's a story about our government and judiciary's disdain for free speech and the truth, and the lengths that they will go to in order to silence dissent, especially with its new and increasing powers. Is our government being held accountable for its actions? No. Is the judiciary independent of political influence? You've seen all the evidence. You decide. Whether you agree with my politics is irrelevant. When dissent is crushed, free speech dies, and governments move one step closer to tyranny. The lawyers know the truth. Even Jamal's father, Jihad, he knows the truth about his son. They all knew the truth and were using Jamal to further their agenda, regardless of the consequences for Jamal. They continued to pursue the case, which incidentally has caused my divorce and bankruptcy. My ex-wife had to choose between her marriage to me and the safety of our children. I'm glad she chose our children. We're still best mates. You see, Jamal's lawyers told me very early on, if I apologised and paid them 50 grand, they'd drop their case. If you're watching this, you know the decision I made. I won't apologise for reporting what I was told, for what I believe to be true, for standing up for Bailey, a young lad unjustly vilified by pretty much everyone. But in silencing dissent, are the media and our government any different to the governments they criticise so much? China, Russia, Iran, immigration, COVID, Brexit. If it doesn't fit the narrative, you will not hear the alternative view. And where else have we seen this? Where else have the media, politicians, police and social services hidden for truth for decades, fearful of being called racist? Grooming gangs. That's where. A cover-up of such horrific cost to thousands of young girls in towns and cities across our country. And nowhere worse than under the stewardship of Councillor Shabir Pandor's Kirklees Council. You see, hiding the truth doesn't protect community cohesion. It does the total opposite. It undermines trust in public institutions. It stokes resentment and conflict in our communities. Tragically, those who lead us don't seem to have the moral clarity or courage to speak the truth. They cause the division that they're trying to prevent. People ask me, was it worth it? Yeah, it was worth it. The truth is always worth defending. I'm still here. If you were born in the United Kingdom, you've already won the lottery of life. An inheritance from our parents and grandparents of freedom, equality under English law and democracy. If we allow ourselves to be silenced, that inheritance is rendered worthless. What legacy will we leave for the children and grandchildren who come after us? None of us can afford to let free speech die. We cannot and we will not be silenced. So you've seen, I'm being sent to jail, I'm being prosecuted for showing you the truth. Nothing else. I didn't lie, okay? They've lied, continually lied. Now, for the Attorney General to bring a charge against a member of the public for contempt of court, it has to be in the public interest. I say the Attorney General, this is not the police prosecuting me. In fact, the claimant in this case is not asking for me to be prosecuted. His lawyers are not asking for me to be prosecuted. The Labour government's Attorney General is the one attempting to send me to jail. Now, for it to be in the public's interest, you're a member of the public. You've just watched this expose. Is it in your interest to lock me up for 2 years? How can it be? Let the government know, let the Attorney General know by signing the petition at www.truthontrial.co.uk to let them know you don't support the imprisonment of journalists for reporting facts to you, the British public.
Who knows what the future now holds for me? The one thing that gives me a peace of mind if I'm in prison or even if the worst happens is knowing that my family have stability and have security. If you can support them during these times, the link is at www.helptommy.com. I really appreciate your support.